Hello there, my name is James Harrington. If Spanish football is for you, then this is the place to be. The La Liga season is well and truly underway and we've arrived at Matchday 3. In this video, I'll be previewing 3 must-watch matches this weekend. The first game that is a must-watch this weekend has to be Celta Vigo versus Athletic Club. Now we all know the Estadio Balaidos is a very difficult place to go and visit, and I know we're so early on in the season, but I really do see this as an important fixture for both clubs. Now if you saw my season preview recently, and if you didn't, why haven't you seen it? In that video where I talked about the 7 teams that will qualify for Europe and the 3 teams that will go get relegated, in that 7th spot I said that 3 teams were vying for that position: Real Betis, Celta Vigo and Athletic Club. Now if this was last season in the 2020-2021 campaign, I simply would have not had Celta in the conversation when Oscar Garcia was at the helm. The side were in dire straits. But then Chacho came in November and he completely transformed the side, with Celta Vigo finishing 8th. Only 5 points behind Villarreal, collecting 53 points in what was their best result since the 2015-2016 season. They'll definitely be trying to build upon that this time around. Now in the opening 2 games they had a 0-0 draw versus Osasuna, and let's be frank, they were the worst of the 2 sides in that match. Thankfully for them, their on-loan goalkeeper Totoro made a wonderful penalty save. But in the first match they played Atletico Madrid, and yes, they did lose that result 2-1, but they were so close and they put in a really strong performance. If only Iago Aspas, who rounded Jan Oblak, converted that final chance they had, it could have been an entirely different story. We all know that Celta Vigo have a really exciting attacking department. Those 5 players, Mina, Mendes, Aspas, Nolito and Suarez, are a frightening prospect for any team. But Caldet has gone out and strengthened that department, bringing Servi, the winger from Benfica, and as well Galan as their advancing fullback. They are full of attacking options, Celta Vigo. Caldet will know that his team can put that result against Osasuna behind them. Look, El Sadar is a really tough place to go and play, especially with fans back in the stadium. Caldet will be really liking his team's chances going to this fixture, considering the fact that against Athletic last season, they were unbeaten. So we now look at the opposition, Athletic Club, a side that have drawn both of their opening games. In the last match, they drew 1-1 with Barcelona, in a match many people said they deserved to win, in what was an electric night at the San Mamés. Marcelino as well after the game said his side definitely deserved more than a point if it wasn't only for a ferocious strike by Memphis Depay of Barcelona. Inigo Martinez got the lead for Athletic Club from a powerful header, and let's be real, Athletic Club dominated large spells of the match. What was really noticeable as well in that game was how Oyan Sanset and Inaki Williams terrorised that Barcelona backline, who were playing particularly high that night. Oyan Sanset is a player I'm really looking forward to seeing this season, a player who I hope will fulfil his enormous potential. In that game as well, Athletic Club played high energy football, and against Celta Vigo, a side that played with a lot of high tempo, that is something that's going to be required if they want something off the Galician side. What will be beneficial for Athletic Club in this game is the fact they play a counter-attacking philosophy, that 4-4-2 formation, and what they'll try and do is expose the defensive frailties of that ultra-attacking 4-5-1 that Caldet's men play. They'll try and do what Atletico Madrid did to them in the opening match day. Try and get Renato Tapia, the defensive midfielder, out of position to expose their back line. Marcelino is a highly rated coach. Los Leones fans have big expectations. Hoping for them this season, he will deliver the goods and get them European football. Now if you're interested to know what my predictions are for this game, you're going to have to wait to the end of the video. The next game you have to watch this weekend, Real Betis versus Real Madrid. Now, Los Verde Blancos, in my season preview, I talked about how I felt they had a really strong second half of the season last time. They finished 6th with 61 points, 17 wins, 10 draws, 11 losses, in what was their best finish in a La Liga season since 2004-2005. It meant they directly qualified for the group stage of European competition. However, I am worried for Real Betis this season. They're going to have more fixtures to play. with the European competition, and as well, I don't think they've added quality signings to the side. Now, if we look at their opening 2 games, they've had 2 draws. Now, that's not disastrous, but it does cause some concerns, considering the calibre of the opposition. It was Mallorca and Cadiz, both winnable opposition. And especially against Cadiz, Pellegrini had some strong words afterwards. What Pellegrini said that really hit the headlines was that he was not content with how the opposition approached the match. Pellegrini said, "We have to make an effort between referees, coaches and players so that La Liga is not this shame, because it is in the referees meeting that we were told that this is the slowest league in Europe. People want to watch a show and we're not giving it to them. The most time wasting, the most dives, it's pathetic, it's disgraceful. This is a show and we have to take care of it. People pay a ticket for something." What was evident as well from that match against Cadiz is that they lack the quality up top. Now, if you look at their strikers, they've got Borja Iglesias. A lot has been made of him due to the fact he's a big money signing. He did find some form last season, getting 11 goals. But then if you look at the other attacking options, you've got Lauren Moron, who isn't a player that's going to give you 10 plus goals a season, something that you definitely need when you're playing on both European and domestic fronts. It's rumoured that William José of Real Sociedad is on his way to Real Betis. Now, this is a player who spent last season on loan at Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League, but they didn't activate the permanent clause in the deal. Now, I definitely feel like William José is a quality player and something that Manuel Pellegrini's side need. A player who else is going to be really critical in this match against Real Madrid, he's critical in all matches for Real Betis, is Nabil Fekir. He is that creative spark, that maestro in midfield. He played 2,622 minutes for them last season, just shows how pivotal he is to the side, and as well he leads the team in most attempted dribbles. Unfortunately though, for Real Betis, and I think everyone agrees on this, he can have magical moments, but unfortunately he just blows hot and cold. We now talk about the opposition, Real Madrid, who arguably played the game of the previous match day in what was a 3-3 draw versus Levante. Levante really are a bogey team for those big sides, having beaten 4 of the top 6 last season. What seems to be in Ancelotti's plans is he's bringing in players from the cold, namely Gareth Bale. Now, Gareth Bale got the opener against Levante in what was his first La Liga goal since September 2019. His first goal for Real Madrid in all competitions since January 2020. Another player that has come in from the cold and did an exceptional performance against Levante was Isco. Now, Real Madrid fans are probably quietly optimistic about the partnership forming, hopefully a strong partnership between Eden Hazard, Benzema and Bale. But the player that stole all the headlines for Real Madrid last weekend, and no, it wasn't Kylian Mbappe because there's rumours that he's on his way from PSG to Real Madrid, it was the Brazilian Vinicius Jr., who bagged a brace and was cruelly denied a hat-trick after a red card from the Levante goalkeeper Aitor Fernandez. Now, Pete Jensen pointed out that Vinicius Jr. in the 2019-2020 season got 3 goals in 29 appearances. Last season, he got 3 goals in 35 appearances. However, he's now got 3 goals in 50 minutes. Now, I don't want to jump the gun and say he's suddenly fulfilled the potential that we all know that he has, but he's definitely improved on his finishing. What was apparent as well after the Levante game was the defensive frailties at Real Madrid. Now, in my season preview, I talked about how damaging it will be to lose that foundation, that base, in the partnership of Varane and Ramos. And the likes of Militao did look shaky against Levante. And the fact that Roger Martí got a goal for Levante in the opening minute of the second half isn't a great sign. David Alaba has settled in well, but I definitely do feel that they need a bit more quality in their defence. Last time Real Madrid were on the road, they did really well against Alaves, winning 4-1 and Benzema bagged a brace. So Ancelotti will be liking his side's chances when they travel to Real Betis. They'll be without the likes of Kroos and Modric, but players like Isco and Valverde will ably deputise. The final must-watch game this weekend is Atletico Madrid playing host to Villarreal. Diego Simeone's men have won both of their opening games against Celta Vigo 2-1 and a classic 1-0 victory against Elche. Their star performer this season has been Angel Correa, who's got 8 goals in his last 10 appearances. Simeone this season has stuck with his 3-5-2 formation, the formation that got him the Liga title last season. But what's been interesting is he's played Saul, a left wing back nevertheless, a player that's rumoured to be getting closer and closer to the exit door with a move to the Premier League. What we're likely going to see this weekend against Villarreal is the return of Hermoso, who got a red card against Celta Vigo, featuring in what I think is the strongest back three partnership of Atletico Madrid, Hermoso, Jimenez and Savic. What we saw last weekend against Elche is the blossoming partnership between Koke and new signing Rodrigo de Paul. Into the Calderon pointed out that he got 11 passes were longer than 30 yards. So clearly what he's key to do is get those long balls to break the defensive line of the opposition. It has been 7 decades since Atletico Madrid retained a La Liga title, and only them and Sevilla, who got a late victory against Getafe, have maintained a 100% start to the season, with both Barcelona and Real Madrid dropping points. So at the moment, it's looking up for Los Rojiblancos. We now look at the visitors, Villarreal, who come into this game after what was a frustrating Matchday 2 and 0-0 draw versus Espanyol. Now I watched that game, and what has to be said was, it wasn't a boring game. Definitely not. There was a lot of end-to-end action, but it just lacked clear-cut chances. What will be concerning though for Emirates is the fact that they also had a 0-0 draw on the opening match day. Villarreal are La Liga's biggest spenders this summer, with 3 players costing over £10 million. You've got Dia, a striker they bought from Ligue 1. They brought in Danjuma from Bournemouth, a player who got 15 goals in 33 appearances in the Championship last season, and they've made Juan Foyth's loan move permanent. What was noticeable against Espanyol was the absence of Dani Parejo, a player who was ruled out injured before the Super Cup with a calf injury, and what he gives him the tempo, he gives him the fluidity and the attacking potency going forward. Villarreal do enjoy to control the ball for large spells of the game, but I don't think they're going to have that luxury against Atletico Madrid. Unai Emery, after the game against Espanyol, said he needed players like Gerard Moreno to be on their A game, because, to be frank, I felt Gerard Moreno was largely absent in the previous match. Gerard Moreno did say afterwards, the Espanyol were really tight to break down. We did have some chances, but not great ones. Well, I can tell you this, Gerard Moreno, it's going to be even tougher against Simeone's Atletico Madrid. You have to be on your A game if you want to get something out of that match. Now, I'm not here sitting there worried about Villarreal and their lack of goals. They've got Dia, who, my observation of him was that he needs to calm down in front of goal, just needs to slowly bed himself into the side, but he did have great physical presence against Granada. You've got Gerard Moreno, a player who's got 30 goals last season, so I'm less worried about him, and Paco Alcacer, someone who's scored at every team he's played for. Another weapon in their attacking arsenal is the use of their fullbacks. Pedraza, someone who's been on loan a number of times from Villarreal in previous seasons, seems to be settled and part of Unai Emery's plans, so he'll be key. But I do definitely think this will be a tough game for Villarreal. So, what are my predictions for those 3 matches? Well, Celta Vigo versus Athletic Club. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be a really feisty affair between those 2 sides. Then, Real Madrid versus Real Betis. I did say Real Madrid be optimistic of their chances going into this game, and I think they're going to walk away with a 2-0 victory. And finally, Atletico Madrid versus Villarreal. A tough game, 2 very good competitors, and I just think Atletico Madrid will edge it. I'm going to go with 1-0 Atletico Madrid. Well, that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, that notification button so you never miss an episode, and give the video a thumbs up. It's all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.